The vision of a glorious king coming in the far-off future has ended, and now Isaiah puts away his telescope to the future and returns to what is happening in his current time. He picks up from the woes of chapter 5, returning to what is making God so angry. There are 4 things: pride, atheism, wickedness, selfishness, and injustice. Pride. The Lord has sent a threatening prophetic word into Jacob, and it is falling onto Israel in the north. All of the people will know that this word is true, particularly those in Israel in the north and Ephraim, who are the proudest of all the tribes, and the people that live in Samaria, the capital of Israel. For with great pride in their hearts they assert with arrogance, self-confidence, "So what? The rickety old bricks have fallen down. The loss is of little concern to us. We will rebuild much more beautiful houses that are strong, using high-quality hewn stones that are smooth and durable. Why would we care that the sycamores and the lowlands of Judea have been cut down? They are of little value, poor quality wood. We don't esteem them anyhow. Let's replace them with the rare and precious wood of the cedar, a more permanent, smooth and elegant wood for our buildings." They are determined to say, "We will keep building. We will come out on top," without asking why these adverse events are occurring. Therefore the Lord is raising up and giving power to adversaries who will come against Israel, adversaries from Syria under the king of Rezin, and from Philistine. The Lord is spurring on the Arameans of Syria in the east to join with the Philistines in the west, to join together and to devour Israel with gaping jaws, just like when a wild and ravenous beast destroys its prey with greediness and cruelty. A chorus. And even after this has happened, God's justice will not be fully satisfied. His anger will not be turned away. His hand will be stretched out still to bring further judgments upon them, because they do not repent and turn to God. 2. Atheism. Despite being chastised by the Lord, they do not regard it as from God, and they do not turn to him as at his strong reproof. In fact, they do not seek the Lord of hosts at all. They do not seek his protection and favour. They do not worship and honour him. Even though they have belief in God, they live as if there is no God. The result? Anarchy and disorder, with all being led astray. The Lord quickly cuts off both the head and the tail from Israel. In a single day he cuts off the highest branch of the palm tree, the people in the highest power. He cuts off the bulrush reeds in the low-lying swamp, the lowest and meanest of people. God cuts off the head, the elders and honourable men that are admired by the people, because they are leaders who cannot lead. God cuts off the tail because in it are false prophets who come from mean descent and teach falsehoods. Both are leading the people astray and are causing them to err. Those who look to them for guidance become very confused and are led into a destructive path. And so the Lord does not take any pleasure in preserving the young men of this people like he normally would, young men who are the hope and strength of the nation. Nor does he have pity and mercy in protecting the orphans and the widows who usually God has special concern and care for. Why? Because every one of them is a godless hypocrite and an evildoer, professing to worship and serve God, but in reality they are profane and have forsaken God. They all speak with wickedness and folly. Not ashamed of their own wickedness, they proclaim the corruption of their hearts in ungodly speech. Repeating chorus. And even after this has happened, God's justice will not be fully satisfied. His anger will not be turned away. His hand will be stretched out to still bring further judgments upon them, because they do not repent and turn to God. Number 3, wickedness and selfishness. In their hearts, their wickedness burns like an unquenchable fire. It starts with thorns and thistles being kindled, Then once they are consumed, before you know it, the trees of the forest thickets become aflame, and quickly there is a fast-spreading and raging fire rolling upward into large smoke columns, darkening the land. In their wickedness and selfishness, they want what others have. They devour each other, yet are still not satisfied, and it leads to war and strife. Therefore the anger of the Lord of hosts will allow the fire to burn up the land until it is black, and the fuel for the fire will be the people. No man will spare his brother. They will plunder and devour each other, snatching what is in the right hand, but still being hungry for more, then devouring what is on the left hand and still not being satisfied. They will injure and devour their own family and neighbours, like eating the flesh of their own arms, destroying themselves in the process. In their quarrels, contentions and wars among themselves, the tribes of Manasseh will devour Ephraim, and Ephraim will devour Manasseh. But while they are devouring each other and themselves, they will be united in war against Judah in the south. Repeating chorus. And even after this has happened, God's justice will not be fully satisfied. His anger will not be turned away. His hand will be stretched out still to bring further judgments upon them, because they do not repent and turn to God. Number 4, injustice. How terrible for those judges and leaders who make evil decrees, laws and ordinances, always writing up decisions of unjust sentences that are oppressive and grievous. They deprive the needy of justice, robbing the poor of my people of their rights, making vulnerable widows and orphans their spoil and plunder for their own greedy gain. What are you going to do when the Supreme Judge calls you to account and sentences you to punishment? How will you save yourselves when the day of punishment comes, when your devastation reaches you from afar? Who will you flee to for help? Where are you going to hide all of your wealth? There will be no escaping God's punishment. You will be without help and will either fall as one of the slain or crouch with those who are taken prisoner. Repeating chorus. And even after this has happened, God's justice will not be fully satisfied. His anger will not be turned away. His hand will be stretched out still to bring further judgments upon them, because they do not repent and turn to God. Isaiah 10:5-11:1.